All right. Welcome to the newest episode of Thompson's Comic Corner. I am your host, Zach. Now, everybody knows that when you tune into my show, you never know who is going to pop up. I have probably had 10 different people pop up on this show. That is one of the little things about the show is I am the main host and then I just bring in somebody random all the time. Well, this time I brought somebody in from another show that I really, really enjoy. And I hope you guys know who he is because he's a superstar. And that is my guy, Justin, from the Iron Age of comics.
Wow, too kind. Too too kind.
Listen, actually, there's three comic book podcasts that I listen to, and you guys are in that top three. So I
Cool.
hold you guys very high.
Jim sends his regards, but he's the busiest man on earth. So it's hard to get him to actually sit down for our podcast, much
Oh,
less.
brother, I understand it. Once you hit 30 and have kids,
Yeah.
life is difficult. All right, so I brought you in I just brought you in just to be on the show. I let you pick. So we are going to be doing a small little four issues of John Byrne's Fantastic Four run. And if you don't know anything about John Byrne and his Fantastic Four run, you need to go buy the omnibus, or you need to go buy the trade paperbacks, or you can go get the original 80s, the beautiful newsprint that smells amazing.
Exquisite. Yeah. That's how I
So
got him.
yeah,
It's-
you got the old newsprint, I got the trade paperback because why not? Um, so we are doing issues 242 to 245, which for most people that don't know, which you should know, because again, this is John Byrne and this is Fantastic Four. This is the return of Galactus and Terrax, which he's really cool. I like his character build. It's very so to me, it reminds me so much of like Kirby. He would be a Kirby character, which he might
oh
have been.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he wasn't, but he's very much like made in the Kirby mold. Like he is sort of dark side, but with in terms of appearance,
yeah,
some
his
other stuff going
face
on.
100% looks like a Kirby character, and I love that. And then 245 is it's a really weird but yet beautiful changing of the guard. So I was listening to a YouTube video about this run, and they highlighted issue 245,
Mhm.
and they say that John Byrne's the reason why she becomes the Invisible Woman, and like he like molded her and changed her and like made her very powerful. And I feel like that issue was like the tide that where it turned.
Yeah, he always I read an interview with him, right? Because I this is the kind of in-depth thing that I go with this sort of thing is I read a long interview with him and he says like anytime John Byrne picked up a book, he would like adopt a character and say like this is the one that I'm gonna work on, right? And Sue was sort of that for Fantastic Four, and like that does end up becoming like yeah, she becomes the Invisible Woman later on. He is the guy who invents the idea that like she could use the invisible force field as like a floating platform or like a means of conveyance, like Iceman. So that is something that he did try to do. Is like, yeah, let's pump up Sue, you know?
Yeah, and I'm reading like the old Fantastic Four because all right, so if you've never listened to my show, I openly admit that I'm not a comic book snob, but
Oh
I'm
yeah,
also I can't read everything. And Fantastic Four I always thought was like too smart for me. And in some instances it really is. Like I don't know half the shit that Reed's talking about. That's honest, that's truth. I don't think anybody does really. But you see that like she is just like a side character. And
hmm
like usually it's always Reed or it's Johnny that are like your main characters. I mean, the Thing gets his thing, but it's usually in like Marvel 2 and 1 or his own series, which those are great, by the way. Go read those.
yeah,
And John Byrne puts it to the point where like now she is starting to take like more of like a leadership role and like her powers. Like she is very powerful.
Hmm.
in the Marvel universe. So, and I believe that like he was the reason, like he also made She-Hulk, you know, matter because nobody really cared about Savage She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did a lot to turn these characters around. And I mean, I I dug these four issues. Again, like I told you before we were on here, I had actually read the Return of Galactus before when the movie came out, and I was like, man, I was like, I love this. So I was actually kind of happy when I realized when I put two and two together of what we were reading. So,
Cool.
all right. So we start out with issue 242, and that's the Terrax the Untamed. He comes in. All right. So if you're new to our show, all we do is we just kind of like we just talk about it. We don't have
Yeah.
to go too far in depth because we want you to go read the damn book. So go read it, but read it with us. But anywho, so Terrax comes back. And I really, so they build him up and like his powers are pretty cool. He can control like rocks and stuff. And it's
Yeah.
kind of neat. And the thing that he could have done was he could have just literally just bashed the world and just been done with it, like bash the earth, be done. But no, he had to make this whole big dramatic thing, and he thinks that Galactus is, starving to death because he hasn't fed him and he hasn't eaten. So like he thinks that he has a chance, and Galactus literally just rains on this man's parade, and it's in about four panels.
All right. Yeah, the whole thing is like a build up to like, okay, I'm recruiting the Fantastic Four to fight Galactus for me. And then the instant that, like as powerful as Terrax is, like he literally like lifting up Manhattan Island, right?
Right.
Galactus is like you're done.
Yeah, he literally just hits him like he's a gnat. Like he's like, shoot fly, don't bother me, and then it's over.
Hmm.
And and it's like, I have such a respect for the character Galactus. He's really not a bad guy. He's really not.
Yeah.
He just does what he has to do to survive, and he knows that. I mean, does he feel remorse for it? No, because he's just, he doing what he's got to do. But Terrorx, like, he is an asshole, and he's
Yeah.
mad. And I get that, but did you really think the Fantastic Four was going to help you like destroy another living being? That's not their thing. And like they even say that because when you go into issue 243 and they battle Galactus, and then into 244, like they essentially save Galactus.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I know this is not part of this run, but doesn't Galactus die at some point anyways?
I'm sure. I mean, being comics what they are, right? I'm sure Galactus has died like 8 times since I,
Right.
and like several of which I have not read, right? But yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing here, right? Is that like it's a moral quandary, right? Because we are supposed to, because I mean, like a lot of people do think of Galactus as the bad guy because like he's going to eat the planet. That sounds like a bad thing to do, right? On the face of it, but like there's in that original Lee Kirby, the Lee Kirby Galactus stories, it says like he's beyond good and evil. He just does what he has to do to survive the way that we would, right? I mean, like I eat meat, right? So like it's the same thing, this is the position that they take. And one of the things that I think is cool is that not everybody is on the same page because Iron Man, when they post this idea to him, he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, right? He's gonna eat a planet. Like he is like thinking like purely in terms of like utility. Like, yeah, I don't think we should kill the guy who eats planets. And to be honest, I it's hard to say what the right solution is here, right? Like so many superhero comic books deal in these very like straightforward, like uncontroversial morals, right? Like be good to other people, right? Or like don't be sexist or racist, right? Like very, 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 very general and broad morals. This is like, I don't know, should you, if this guy is essentially like a walking natural disaster, like, should you allow him to die? Not even like kill him, but just like allow him to starve and walk away. Like that's a genuine moral issue that I don't know. I'm not even sure if I totally agree with Reed Richards' decision to save him, but it makes some kind of justification in the comic, right? So like I'm following along with it.
No, and I find it funny that they had to think about it. Well, if you think about it, really the only ones that were thinking about it, like, letting Galactus just die was really just Iron Man and Thor. Because
Right.
Captain America was like, whatever you got, Reed, I'm right behind you.
Right.
Like he didn't even think about it. That man was just he knew what Reed was gonna say.
Mhm.
And I do find it fun. Now, I'm not a big fan of like I love crossovers. I'm cool with that.
Mhm.
But why? What was the point of Daredevil and Spider-Man?
Ooh, I got this, right?
Yes, explain.
So the big thing that I like when you read like the original Fantastic Four Galactic story, right? In the Lee Kirby days, people are always like, well, what were the Avengers doing at that time? Right? Where was everybody else? Because like this is a huge like Manhattan wide event, and everybody lives in Manhattan in the Marvel universe, right? And so people wonder like, well, why where is everybody else? And usually we just go like, don't like, stop thinking about it, right? Like don't worry about it. But in this case, John Byrne was like, you know what? If people are going to ask about like where is everybody else when Galactus comes, let's just show like everybody versus Galactus at the same time. I do like that.
Okay.
I do like that Spider-Man and Daredevil are basically like, you know what? This is above our pay grade. I'm just going to set this one out, right? It's like
Now, now they've made Spider-Man like very powerful. Do you think that he could have done anything against Galactus?
I don't I don't know because like Spider-Man being like Spider-Man's power level, right? And like it's a hard thing to say with any, fictional character or whatever, right? But like they he's so all over the place in terms of like what the individual writer or artist wants to do with him because like some people like to keep him like really low powered so that like the tarantula who is a guy with like spiky shoes is like a serious credible threat for for Spider-Man, and other people like to be like, yeah, Spider-Man just tears through anything that you got, that you throw his way. So I don't know. I
I
mean, like, I,
mean,
I,
yeah,
I
he
I have,
did
I have a hard time
punch.
seeing what he would do aside
He,
from like shoot webs over his eyes, right? That's his go-to move here, I think.
I mean, he did punch Hulk around the moon. I mean, now granted, I think he had the power cosmic at that point, but
Yeah.
it did happen. It is in the panel. No, I feel like John Byrne did a really good job telling this story, and it's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And then you get the new Herald, which her name's Frankie, which I don't know much about her. So other
Yeah,
than this story, like I feel like this is the only time I've ever been introduced to her.
yeah, she is basically just like a sort of a leftover from like previous writers before John Byrne came on board.
Okay.
And and this is basically like John Byrne wanted to go like, you know, I, we're done with her, right? Like let's find some excuse to get her off the stage or whatever. Her deal is basically just that. I mean, there's a whole like backstory and stuff, but basically just like she got splashed with chemicals. Now she lights on fire.
Okay. Okay. So she wasn't there very long, so like I don't really need to worry about her.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Just like a girl that Johnny's dating who also has fire powers, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool. Like we're on the same page about things being both people who can burst into flame and fly around, right?"
Yeah, now I will say this though. All the characters look immaculate, but again, it's John
Hmm.
Byrne art, so all the characters are always going to look great.
Yeah.
So I think, and I like the fact that so they save Galactus's life. He is like thankful, I guess. I mean, he's thankful, but he's still gonna eat the Earth.
Right.
And like I love it. And they're just like, what? Like all the Avengers are like, what? And it's like, did you really think again, he's not a bad guy. He's just
Right.
hungry.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not his fault. Now, if you go later on in the 80s, I believe it's the mid 80s, they do like an origin story and you get to learn more about the humanity side of Galactus. If you want to read it, read it. I've never read it, but it has a badass cover.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you just want to buy it for the cover purchase, I'm not going to judge you. So then, they end up, Frankie makes a deal with Galactus that, I will be your new herald if you spare Earth, just like you did with Norn Rad. And he accepts. And I'm like, dude, he's such a bad negotiator. Like, he really is. He's like, all right, I'm sold. But you pick all these, like, and now Terrarax, again, he was like a dictator where he was like the president, but he was the dictator, and he was an asshole.
Mhm.
And Galactus really thought that like this guy was like the right idea to be his herald. Like everybody always turns on you in the end. And like this guy's really an asshole. Like he's upfront about it. So you know what I mean? Like
Well,
he has a bad judge of character.
that's why Frankie is sort of an interesting pick because Nornrad like a good and noble soul, right?
Yep.
Terrax just absolute dog shit, and then in the middle you have Frankie who's like he's supposed to be sort of like a normal like not super virtuous but not super evil person, just like a person, right? And she's attracted to the not necessarily like romantically, but like attracted to like the idea of like power. Whenever she hears about Galactus, she's like, "Wow, Galactus, that's real. Holy shit! I gotta go. I gotta go see this for myself." So I think Galactus's maneuver here is thinking like, well, she thinks that I'm cool, right? Like she thinks that like, Galactus
Pretty
is cool.
much.
She's gonna be on my side, but not actively this like genocidal maniac that Terrax is.
Yeah, I mean pretty much. I mean, and like her character design is really cool when she becomes the Herald of Galactus.
Hmm.
I actually really enjoyed that. Like I
Yeah.
thought that was badass. Like it was a cool play on like the Silver Surfer and like her actual like just regular attire. So I give John Byrne a A+ on that because it does look really good. It's really clean.
Yeah.
I'm a big I'm a big stickler when it comes to like the art. I mean, it's a comic book, so obviously we should be,
Yeah.
but it really just depends on like I don't like too cartoon. I don't like too real. I'm kind of like in the middle.
Mhm.
So I appreciate a good character design.
Yeah, I mean that's John Byrne, right? Is that like it's never it isn't that sort of I mean I think of it as the sweet spot because that's the sort of thing that I grew up with, right? Where like you hold up John Byrne like this is the platonic ideal or whatever of what a comic book drawing is. But I also just think like he's aside from just like the mechanics of drawing, just like he's such a inventive artist. Like he's always again in that long interview that I was reading, he's always just like experimenting with like different things. Like this is technically an experimental comic, just not in the way that we usually think of that thing meaning, just because he's always like, I tried this kind of brush in this issue, or I tried, doing this other thing in this other issue. I tried this different perspective or whatever. There's a really cool scene in, I forget which issue, but it's one of the Galactus issues where like Terrax is fighting the thing and he like pounds him down through like 7 flights of stairs. And it's like a dollhouse. Like you can see him like going through every floor. And then on the next
Yeah.
page, the thing comes back and pounds Terrax and he sends him like horizontally through like all these different buildings and stuff. So it's really just like playing with the page, which is what I think is so cool.
All right. Well, I can't tell you the original page, but I can tell you my trade paperback is that it is page 79 and 80 and 81
Hmm.
in the Galactus Fantastic Four versus Galactus, which I think this came out in like 2023, something like that. I don't know. It's got an Alex Ross cover on it. It's badass.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like his camera angles are fun.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it that way. I mean, we're gonna call it panel angles because it's not a movie, but it he was just so much fun. Like we are recording this the week of they just did the facsimile of Man of Steel #1
Mm,
this week. It comes out tomorrow. Um, I know we're talking about the Fantastic Four, but his Superman run is peak art for me.
yeah.
And he brings everything that he does here in Fantastic Four, all these like weird panel angles and his experimentation with characters. And I mean, he makes Lex Luthor look damn good with his red hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love that Superman run. And what's funny about that run is that I dislike a lot of the changes that he makes to Superman, like in terms of continuity and backstory and like some of the stuff, right? It's like I like the pre-crisis old style Superman better. But the actual like stories are so good that any changes that he makes that I don't like, I just like I'm like, all right, this is not that wouldn't have been my call, right? To do it this way. But I love these stories. So like and I feel that way about even some of the Fantastic Four run of like, I don't know that I agree with where this story is going or what he's saying in it, but he tells it so well. I have to, I am entranced by reading it.
right, all right. So you say that. So we're gonna talk about issue
Yes.
this Shit, it's 245.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered. Uh, so in that issue, okay. Now, when before I read this, I had always heard of this is like the it's a beautiful story between Sue and Franklin. We're just gonna be blunt here. Where the hell did you get that, people? Where the hell did you get that? And why in the hell did he? Why? Where did this come from? I understand that like he's a Franklin's a mutant, but he's not a mutant, or he is a mutant, or he isn't a mutant, but he is a mutant. Whatever, it changes. It
Mhm.
depends on who you are. It changes. But in this case, what the hell was his power supposed to be? Explain to me. And why does he look like Reed but with a blonde beard? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, the reason thing is just, in comic books, right? Male heirs, right? All just look exactly like their father, right? Is that's how it, there's no genetic difference from father to son. It's just different hair color, right?
I mean,
Um,
yeah, you're not wrong.
but yeah, I mean, like this. I mean, I assume, right? And I think this is probably something that he said that like Franklin's powers are so amped up that it just becomes a problem no matter what you do. So I don't know if this was like, let's give him like a really super overpowered thing, right, to sort of go out on, and then like, oh, he burnt himself out. He's done with that now. Because I think that I don't,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that like Byrne tries to sort of tamp down the like Franklin is the most powerful mutant ever alive or something, right? I think that sort of goes away. It comes back and then it goes away or whatever. But like, I think this is just sort of like everybody has been asking, like, what about Franklin's mutant powers? I'm going to do a story. I'm going to do one story that touches on it, and we're done now. And also, I get to fix the thing design at the same time.
yeah. See, now I don't have a problem with him doing this as like a one-off, but like this comes off so awkward because all right, so I'm gonna be transparent with the listeners. We were supposed to do the next two issues. It's a really cool Doctor Doom story. It has that really iconic cover where Doctor Doom is not in this book cover, but yeah, I didn't read them because life. But he sandwiched this very bizarre and weird story in between like two peak. Like when you think of John Byrne's Fantastic Four run, they always bring up Galactus because he also, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he write another story, but it didn't get published of Galactus and like everybody just wants to read it, I
Yeah, he did.
believe.
Yeah, it was the last Galactus story. I think he did like most of it in like what was that? The magazine was called Epic Illustrated or something. So he did like
Yeah,
however many chapters of it, and then he just like it got canceled or something before he could do the last one. And everybody wants to know like what is your last thing? And I think he's described it, but I don't
yeah,
think that it's ever seen the light of day.
right. So like people associate him with Galactus, and then
Mhm.
he wrote like it's a really good Doom story.
Yeah.
Like it really is. I highly recommend reading it. I'm sad that we can't like fully discuss it because I didn't make it all the way through, but I know of it, but I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
review it when I didn't fully read it, so I don't want to be that guy.
But that one is also based on like an ethical dilemma of like what if Doctor Doom is actually a good leader of a country, maybe you let him lead that country, right? Even if like the less evil new ruler is actually worse for the people, right? And there's that's the question posed there. And again, people will say like, well, that's sort of a like apology for fascism or something. And like, I don't know, maybe it is, but in the context of the story, it sort of plays through. Also, like, I mean, the real secret is a lot of these like ethical dilemmas that John Byrne sets up, it's just him trying to like get everything back to like the classic status quo, but finding some kind of justification for why it's okay. Like we have to save Galactus because Galactus is a character in the Marvel universe, and so like I have to come up with some kind of a moral logic as to why we allow him to exist, and we have to have some sort of moral logic as to why he is allowed to run a country when he is the worst dude in history.
Right. Because I mean, if you're gonna give me, the idea of who would I rather have, Terrax or Galactus? I mean, who are you gonna take, right?
Right.
I mean, nine times out of ten, I'd rather see you kill him off than Galactus. But I do find it fun though, in the same aspect of he didn't change Galactus's character either. So like, yeah, they saved him, and he's like, I'm thankful for you doing that, but I'm still going to continue doing what I do.
Man's got to eat.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not like he's like trying to change these characters. And I feel like he did a really good job of all the characterizations of it. And I really like, as you go on into this and you get the things transformations. Now, granted, that's not all John Byrne, but I enjoy his run of the Thing's character. I love Thing. I
Mhm.
genuinely do. If you're new to the Comic Corner, go listen to the this is such a shameless plug. Go listen to the episode where we interviewed Tony Fleeks and he did a Thing story. And
Yeah.
it is so much fun. It takes you back into the 80s. And it's just a good, wholesome, like the thing is just, the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Like that's just him.
Mhm.
And John Byrne does really well with that. And with Alicia, him and Alicia's relationship. And it's, he has the opportunity. We're gonna go back to issue 245. Franklin, old man Franklin, we're gonna call him old man Franklin at this point.
Yeah.
He tells Thing that, hey, I can change you back to human. I know that that's what your deepest desire is. And then he lays a hand on him and he sees what his deepest desire is. And that, this is really deep. Um, that he's afraid that Alicia won't love him if he's not the thing, that she's in love with, the way that his rocks feel, like the way that she can, that's him. She could feel that that's him.
Mhm.
Also, if you don't know this, she's blind and she's a sculptress. So we're gonna pretend like you know that.
Right.
And so before all this, before John Byrne became on the Fantastic Four, I don't know what happened to Thing, but he didn't look like Thing.
Yeah, that was in an earlier John Byrne story. He wanted to like, well, because his complaint about the thing is that like over the years he had gone from this like really like weird looking monstrous guy to sort of like Fozzie Bear, right? Where like in the 70s like the thing is kind of cute, and he wanted to like try the like let's go back to like the really like weird looking like lumpy oatmeal man like lurching monster, and then
Yeah,
I,
beautiful Kirby face.
yeah, and I think that John Byrne said something like, "Yeah, I tried doing that for a while." And again, this is the experimental part. I tried doing it for a while, and then it turns out it's really hard to draw from panel to panel. So I put it back. Right?
Yeah, and he Franklin turns him back to, your regular rocky, happy-go-lucky looking thing. And I find that part really beautiful in the book, but the rest of that book is just, dude, it is I don't even know how to describe it. It's
Well,
not
and the
bad.
yeah,
It's
and
just
I mean
kooky.
the one thing that I will call out about this issue is that the opening to 245 with like Sue Storm being on this like on this TV show, right, and being like grilled by this interviewer is really weird because it, again, like John Byrne is in theory, in some ways, like a progressive guy. He wants to give Sue his due or whatever, but his way to do that is to take like the most like awful cartoon of a feminist that you can imagine, right? Of, like
Yeah.
the angry feminist who, hates men or whatever, and like all the people on the staff of this, news program or whatever also say like, yeah, we all hate her. She's a mean boss or whatever. And she keeps saying like, well, don't shouldn't you have use your, shouldn't you have not changed your name? Shouldn't you have done this or whatever? And she like brushes that all aside. So like there is theoretically a more graceful way to like engage with some of the like feminist criticism of uh Sue Storm in the history of the Fantastic Four, rather than like what if we made up the worst person who sucks and we say you're stupid, right? Which is how the story comes out. So yeah, it's actually like quite a gross opening to the story. And the reporter's name is Barbara Walker, and I don't know if she's supposed to be like a like Barbara Walters. I don't know anything about Barbara Walters before
Has to
like
be.
she yeah, but it's like it's so weird to like take this like really this awful pot shot, right? at the concept of like feminist critique, right? To say like it's stupid actually. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
she
that, that
had
this
he
this is the
had
part
to have like he had to have hated her shift.
yeah. I mean, this is the part of this, so this is the part of like the Fantastic Four stories that like I don't like, and like that's the weird complexity of John Byrne is that like he wants to do right by this character, but it's sort of like, well, I, John Byrne, a man, I'm going to tell you how women should should feel about feminism, right?
I do find it funny though in that in 245 where she goes up to the police and she's like, "Do you know who I am?" And the one
Right.
worker's like, "Oh man, he's about to get it."
Yeah, I
Like
mean
that shit's
it's
funny.
funny. It's funny. It's entertaining, you know. It's just like it's one of those things where like I read it and like, oh, this makes me feel kind of gross, right? To read and think about. So,
Yeah, I really enjoyed 242 to 244.
mhm.
245, I understand why it's such a good story. Like I get it. But brother, they were so ahead of their time with like Franklin's powers.
Mhm.
Because like I like it that, Galactus knows how powerful Franklin is, and like, what we saw in the movie, like I really like that. Like that's cool. Or if you read what is it, Fantastic Four versus X-Men, and you get to see like a little flash of Franklin's powers in that. I
Yeah.
like that. Not this. Not this. It's not for me. It could be for you. It could be for the next person. But for me, that is a no-go.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we ever see like Jesus Franklin like he appears here ever again. So,
Yeah, he reminds me of Tom Hanks' character from Castaway.
yeah.
That's the best way to put it. So, yeah, I really enjoy the Galactus story. That story is so much fun for me because I am so I love Kirby's art and I love Stan Lee's storytelling. I get it that, dude, he talks too much. There's too many words on the page. I get it. Trust me. Sometimes it gets pretty hard to read, but like those stories are like near and dear to my heart. And this, I'm not saying John Byrne draws like Jack Kirby, but like you can't tell me Terrax isn't a Jack Kirby character.
It's the
I
inventiveness more than like the actual like it looks like you traced his style or something. Yeah.
Right. Like I love that shit. So like that was cool for me. And again, like I said, the first time I read it, I was like, "Ooh, who's this character?" And then watching Galactus just flick him away like that, it makes me laugh. But it's still like, I still like the character and I really like the story. And I find it cool that like he was able to tell this story and then go on. And he had like a really long run in Fantastic Four, correct? Like
Yeah.
it was pretty damn long. And at the same time that he's doing this, right? Like he's writing Fantastic Four bangers. He was also doing like two other monthly books.
His work ethic was insane. Like I don't know how he does it, right? Because like I mean he's inking this too. So like
Right. Like
how long does
there
that
was
take? You
literally a
know?
time where he was doing Fantastic Four, Avengers, what else? He was doing another major book, like, and these were monthly titles.
Mhm.
And it's not just that he's doing like, okay, so think about it this way. So yeah, in Avengers, he's just drawing it. If I'm not mistaken, Marv Wolfman was writing it at that point.
I mean there was I don't know the exact I'm not as up on my Avengers as I am on my Fantastic Four, but I know he draws like some, you know, I'm not always sure what the boundaries of that are, but yeah.
But the fact that this man is putting together, we're just gonna say 24 pages for Fantastic Four. He's
Yeah.
inking it. Not only is he inking it, he's drawing it. Not only is he drawing it, he's also coming up with the damn script. He's also doing all the dialogue. And on top of that, he was doing pages for Iron Man. He's still doing covers for other books. He's out there doing a whole nother book that's monthly.
Yeah.
Like, Grant, I'll give him that, the 245 can be misleading and awkward as it is. That's fine because this man's out here writing bangers and drawing bangers for everything else. So it's fine. I can give you a one bad, not even bad, just one like weird story. I can
Mm.
give you that because again, it's sandwiched in between a really good Galactus story and then a damn good Doctor Doom story. So I can't hate the man for having like one meh story in between.
Oh yeah, and I have to admit, like as somebody who like goes like deep on the Byrne Fantastic Four, like I've always said like Byrne Fantastic Four and the Grant Morrison JLA, either one of those is plausibly my favorite comic run ever, and it's just like whatever one I read last, right? So now it's this, right? But
Yep.
like, um, yeah, even the stuff that I don't like about the Fantastic Four run, it's because it's part of it. It's so interesting to me that I read it. I'm like, that's such a weird thing to do. Like having this like weird anti-feminist screed in the top in the front of the story about my cosmic child, right? That's a weird thing to do. I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't have written that, but that's interesting.
Right.
You certainly can't say that's not interesting to do. So
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, just all of his stories. Like, granted, like it's off the wall, man. Like this, it's so random, and it's just sandwiched in between. Again, like it's literally sandwiched in between two really, really good stories that
yep.
I would recommend to anybody to go read. If you want to go read a really good Fantastic Four story, I'm gonna recommend the John Byrne Galactus story or Mark Waid's Doctor Doom, The Unthinkable storyline,
Yeah, also
which I
good.
think, yeah, which is like 496 to 500. I know we're not talking about that, but go read it. Go read it. When Doctor Doom has the skin face armor and like oh my God, dude, it's so cool. I don't care what anybody says. That was awesome. My jaw dropped. I literally probably just read that like a year ago and my jaw dropped. I was like, you son of a bitch. I loved it. So again, I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, sure. Thanks for having me.
I listen to your guys' show, Iron Age of Comics, which is from 1985 to 2000, correct?
Yep.
So tell everybody about your show. This is your self plug right here.
Ooh, all right, crack my knuckles. So everybody says like there's a golden age, there's a silver age, there's a bronze age, right? And these are all about 15 years. And then people say there's a modern age that starts in 1985 or 1986, and that's apparently still going on for like 40 years. I don't believe that, right? I think if you read a Spider-Man comic from 1986 and a Spider-Man comic from 2026, these are different things. I think there's been another, Jim and I both think there's been another age in between there somewhere. I think that the comics from 1985 to 2000 have a special like texture and flavor, and they are about things and they think about things, and it's just as distinct as any of those other previous things. And there's probably ages that are past that, but I don't know those I don't know those comics as well, so I'm sure that's somebody else's job to define those. But if you like Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, all the crazy 90s stuff like Image, if you like what do we just do? We're doing Death of Superman and Nightfall this summer. So all of that kind of stuff. It's all the good and the bad. It's all wrapped up in a little package, and it's in the Iron Age of Comics.
Which is really good, by the way, and you can listen to them on anything that streams podcasts.
Yes.
I use Spotify. I had to think about the one I use. So and by the way, I did another self plug. Season two, episodes one and two is the death of Superman and the reign of Superman
Yeah,
or
I did listen to
Superman.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so funny thing, I had never read those stories. Now I had owned those stories probably a dozen times over because my mom worked at a book fair at our school every year. And
Mhm.
I swear to God, Scholastic had a thing for the death of Superman. That's the only book we ever saw, or Bone. So
Right.
I had read Bone, and that made me laugh because you guys just did a Bone episode not that long ago.
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh because I was like, damn, I was like, I read those when I was a kid and I just absolutely loved it. So it made me want to like go back out and, see if I can go get me another Scholastic copy of those. Like my kid has a book fair, be like, go get me a Bone, dude. Like pick that trade paperback up now. So yeah, and I picked up Death of Superman and Reign of Superman, $5 trade paperbacks.
Wow.
Go, the books are out there. Go read them. Like
Oh yeah, and
we could do this all day.
I always say like check out your library, right? Like that's what they're there for, and right? And like libraries now have tons and tons of comic books. When I was a kid, you had maybe a shelf that was like Watchmen and Dark Knight and Mouse and Understanding Comics and maybe some old, some other couple, Calvin and Hobbes or something, right? Is in there too. Now you can go like get shelves and shelves and shelves that if you're, living in if you have a access to a pretty stocked library system. It's awesome.
Or or if you have a library card, download it's the ones you have Libby, and then there's another app. Put in your library card, and you have a digital like catalog.
Mhm.
Those are nice. So it's out there. Or, like I always joke that we're not sponsored by Marvel Unlimited or DC Infinite, which we should be. But it's affordable. It's 9.99 for Marvel and it's 12.99 if you want the Ultra DC Infinite, which only puts you a month back.
Mm.
So it's out there. You guys want to go read, and it's full catalogs. I mean, we go back to the very first Action Comics all the way to like Fun Magazine and stuff for DC. So it's out there. Go read it. Go read a book. Most of the time you tell kids to go kick a ball, but go read a book.
Yeah.
Um, so we're at the end of the episode. So now so this is weird for me. So now I have sponsors. So we have Hailstorm Vintage. They are in the greater Dayton area. Good people. Go to their store. If you tell them that you heard this little promo on the radio, it's 10% off your purchase. Guys, they have I think they have like six walls, like shelving units on their walls of nothing but like old comic books. And I'm talking about they got an ASM one there. They've got sub 100 Batman issues, Detective Comic. It's beautiful. Go hit them up. They've got CDs, DVDs, VHSs, A-tracks. They got retro 90 clothing if you're into that kind of thing. Go hit them people up. They're such good people. I will always promote them. You know, I met them at Three Rivers. They were so sweet to me. So speaking of Three Rivers Comic Con, it is in the greater Pittsburgh area. It is right across from the football field. It is June 6th and 7th. Small little plug for them. Good people too. So again, thank you so much, Justin, for coming onto the show.
Oh, sure.
And I want to thank everybody for listening. And as I always say, I hope you guys have a great day and peace out, Cub Scouts.